In this video, we're going to show you how to identify an igneous rock using the Scheme for Igneous Rock ID on page 6 of the reference table. So the first thing that you want to look for when you are identifying an igneous rock is the texture. Texture refers to the size of the mineral crystals that solidified in that igneous rock. It doesn't refer to how it feels. It's simply what size are those crystals. So we'll start first with our intrusive environment, and you have two options here, either coarse or very coarse. Now, when you have a igneous rock that is coarse or very coarse, these are mineral crystals that you can see with your own eye, okay? So we'll start with very coarse. This is telling you that the crystals themselves are bigger than a centimeter. So 10 millimeters is a centimeter. So when you look here, these crystals in this rock definitely are larger than 1 centimeter in size. The next size up is coarse. And you can see in this rock that all these tiny little specks of different color are mineral crystals. They're definitely smaller than these crystals in this rock, which makes them coarse. So they're about 1 millimeter to 1 centimeter in size. So you can see the different colors in these rocks, which are the mineral crystals. And in order to form this, it formed intrusively, which means it formed inside the earth, and that means it cooled very slowly, the magma that formed this igneous rock. Now there are other textures here. We have glassy, fine, and vesicular, okay? These three form in an extrusive environment. Extrusive means it formed outside of the earth, so I always think exit. For these, we're not actually going to see the mineral crystals like we see in these two samples. This one is called a fine texture. If we compare it to the coarse texture, you can see that, yeah, there maybe are some specks of mineral crystals in here. They're definitely smaller, and we would consider this to be fine. Next is glassy. This is a glassy igneous rock. You can tell by the way that it looks. You can't see any crystals. You can see non-crystalline for the size. And then the final one is vesicular, or gas pockets. This is a great example of vesicular. So these are holes that are within the rock itself caused by the gas that was in the lava as this rock formed. So again, in these three, we're really not seeing crystals like we saw in these two, okay? So we're going to look for crystal size, which is your texture, as you identify the igneous rock. Once you know your texture, you then have some options. And the next thing you should look for is the color. So color is down here, and there's a range of color. So everything on this side of the chart is considered lighter in color. Everything on this side of the chart is considered darker in color. So you'll notice that there are some rocks in the middle. These are kind of intermediate. And again, this is a range, so we're looking at that. The only exception, hopefully you noticed already, is obsidian. Obsidian usually appears black. So you might ask, why is it on this side of the chart? Because it is following this composition. It's felsic, it has silicon and aluminum in it, so it goes on this side of the chart. So let's put both the texture and the color together to identify our igneous rocks. We'll first start with our very coarse texture. Very coarse. And we would consider this lighter in color. You see some pinks and some clear crystals that are in it. So light in colors on this side, very coarse. I bring it together. This is pegmatite. Next up would be our coarse, which is here. Again, this one, even though we do see some darker colors in it, this is considered light in color. So now we're not pegmatite, we're a granite. This is also coarse. Please notice the difference. This is considered dark in color. So this sample is coarse and dark, which is gabbro. Next, we have two samples that are fine, textured, which is right here. This one is light in color, making it rhyolite. This one is dark in color, making it basalt. Then we had our glassy rock. Okay, so glassy's up at the top. This one is our tricky one because it is obsidian. It usually appears black, as you can see there, and it is glassy in texture. And our final one is our vesicular rock, which is here. Okay, we would consider this dark in color. And technically you have two options on your reference table for dark in color, vesicular basalt and scoria. This one is vesicular basalt. Scoria tends to be a little bit more red in color. Okay, so that's what you want to do. You want to first figure out your texture based on crystal size, and then figure out your color, use the chart, and you will end up with your result.